Guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's your girl again, Fatima. If you are seeing me for the first time, my name is Fatima AKANBI. I'm a fashion designer and a fashion instructor. So here on this YouTube channel, I'll be giving some fashion tutorial, and I would like you to join this small community. Either you are a beginner or intermediate, you will have something to learn on this my YouTube channel. If you are yet to see my previous video, that is my introduction video. That is where you will get to know what I'm bringing onto this YouTube channel. If you are my returning subscriber, you are most welcome, and thank you for always coming by. So on this episode of my YouTube channel, I want to give a tutorial on pattern drafting. You all know I said I'll bring a pattern drafting class or tutorial on this my YouTube channel. And before we move further, we need to know some basics in drafting or a design. So for you now to have a basic knowledge on this pattern drafting, I will need to start from the basics for you before you can get to the advanced level. All we need to do now is draft a basic body blouse, very simple and easy one, and I would love you to pay attention to it, because paying attention to it will make it get it so much easier. I want you to stay tuned and watch this video to the end, because I don't want you to miss any part of this video and drafting tutorial. Okay guys, let's get right into it. So guys, before we get started, I would like to show you the tools that I will need for me to draft this basic blouse. This is my drafting sheet, one of it, and this is my tape measure, this is my armhole cuff, and this is my long ruler, and I will need a pen or marker. You can use a marker, you can use a pen or pencil. So I will need my masking tape in order to tape down my paper on the table. Before we get started, we need to know the basic measurement that we are going to use for it. So this is it on your screen, and the required measurements for us to draft this basic blouse are the ones that I'm putting down one by one, and these are the measurements. So let's get started. So first and foremost, you need to mark down ½ inch from the paper you have on your table or anywhere. So you mark down ½ inch. That's your guide line, because the full length starts from the ½ inch that you mark down. That's your shoulder line. So the next thing to do now is to take a tape and mark your shoulder divided by 2 plus 0.5. that's for seam allowance. So we are adding a seam allowance to it, that's for joining, and adding a sleeve to it. So then your armhole divided by 2, that's 9. You mark down the 9 inches. Then you make sure the shoulder line, which is 8 inches, is equal to the armhole length that you've already marked. So this is me connecting the both lines together. So the next thing to do now is to get our chest line. Our chest line, we are getting it from our armhole divided by 2. So that's the 9 inches that I've already marked for my armhole divided by 2. I need to get it on horizontal line too. So the next thing I'm doing here is getting my blouse length, because we are working on the length of a blouse. So I'm marking it, trying to take it and get that straight line that it's required. So watch me as I do it. The next thing I'm adding here is my 1 inch allowance. The 1 inch allowance is 0.5 from the shoulder and 0.5 for the hemline of a blouse. So I need to mark that one too. So once that one is done, the next thing to do now is getting those lines that are required for us to use in this drafting, because every lines are required, which is the one that I'm trying to do on this paper. I'm getting my bust line, which is my shoulder to nipple point, and at the same time I'm getting my waistline. My waistline is 15, which is my half length. So my half length is equivalent to my waistline. It's 15. So I marked 15.5. that's 0.5 for M allowance for a shoulder. So this is me labeling it for you guys. So I'm doing it just for you to see it. So guys, the next thing to do now is to get my bust pan. My bust pan is 7.5 divided by 2. I'm putting it on this paper because I need to mark it down. That's where we are getting our dart. So this is me connecting all those lines that I've already gotten. So guys, next thing to do now is to mark 0.5 from the line that I just drew. I marked 0.5 in and out, and I connect it from the bust line to the waistline. I'll do the same thing for the down part. So the down part, I need to mark it down because that's where we are getting our dart. I need to place my ruler before it gets to the blouse length, so just 2 inches or 2.5 inches is okay. So the shoulder slope that I'm getting here is I marked down 0.7 from my back, which is the shoulder line. So I connect it to the neckline, which is my neck width. So having done that, I need to get the midpoint of my armhole, which is 4.5. so at this point, because this is the front bodice, from the midpoint that I just got in, I need to mark in 1 inches. So that 1 inches is just for me to get the perfect armhole for the front bodice. So having done that, I need to connect all those lines to right from the chest line to the 1 inch at the midpoint that I got to, and also to the shoulder slope. So the next thing now is getting my bust circumference. My bust circumference is 38. Because we are dealing with a fabric divided by 4, we are drafting our front bodice now, so that means everything is now on fold, so we need to get it divided by 4. So my bust line divided by 4 is 9.5. so I've marked it, and my waistline too, which is the line that I drew that I got my dart from, so divided by 4 also, that's 7.5. so this is me marking it on the paper as well. So I need to transfer the 1 inch dart that I already gotten from that waistline in order to get it so balanced. So the lower waist circumference, which is the hemline of my blouse, so I need to get that one too. That's 39 divided by 4, that's 9.75. we can also use 9.5 to get a perfect measurement as well. So this is me marking it down also. So I need to connect all those lines. So this will give us our blouse shape. I need to connect all those measurements that I just got right from my chest line to the waistline and to the hemline. Now we have a perfect blouse shape. So guys, at this hemline, we need to take a 1 inch up. That's it, to give it a perfect curve at the hemline of a blouse, in order not to have a sharp point at the both side. So I'm marking 1 inch in order to get that curve shape. Then before you now connect it to the hemline again, so I need to get the midpoint of my full blouse, which is the hemline that of a blouse. So I connect it to the midpoint of the hemline of a blouse. So this is me doing. So the next thing to do now, guys, is to add the seam allowance. My seam allowance is 2, so I'm adding seam allowance to the every part of this blouse, right from the chest line to the waistline and to the hemline. So this is me connecting those lines. So after that, I need to connect the curve of my hemline of a blouse. I need to extend it to my seam allowance. So that is it. Just like need to place that your French curve and connect it to the seam allowance. So we've gotten our seam allowance already. So guys, the next thing to do now is to get our neck depth, like our neckline, which is my neck depth is 4, and I connect it to the shoulder slope I've already gotten, and here we have it. Full blouse is ready, like the drafting of a full blouse is ready. This is my dart. Remember, we had 1 inch allowance for the hemline, that's for the shoulder and the hemline of a blouse. So I need to connect that line together to my seam allowance too, and that's it, guys. A full blouse is ready. Okay guys, welcome back again. So on this pattern I'm about to draft for you guys is for the back bodice. So we need to draft the back also. It's actually the same method, it's just that you have a difference, which is zipper allowance. So I'm trying to show you guys on how to add a zipper allowance for the back bodice. So I'll go on and apply all the horizontal lines that I've already drew for the front bodice. So we need to apply the same thing for the back. So just watch me as I do it. At this point, I need to show you the mistakes you might have encountered whenever you want to draft your own. Meanwhile, first thing to do if you want to draft a back bodice, you need to first of all mark down your 1-inch zipper allowance. So that is the difference for the front and the back, because we need to add a zip at the back. So this is me already added the 1-inch allowance, which is zipper allowance for the back. And then I will start to measure my armhole line, which is my shoulder divided by 2. That is where we get our armhole line. So the first line that I've just drew, it's a no. The work has just started from that one. Next thing I'm doing now is getting all those horizontal line, which is my bust line, my waistline, and from there we can now draft our darts, and we are getting there bit by bit. Watch me guys as I'm doing so. It's about to add a dart. So our dart, remember we said our bust span divided by 2. So your bust span divided by 2, that is how you get your dart line. Remember, we are to add our seam allowance for the hemline and the shoulder. So this is me adding the 1-inch allowance, which is for seam allowance for the hemline of a blouse and the shoulder. So at this point, the darts, we need to connect our dart half in, half out from the bust span line that we've already drilled. So this is me connecting those lines together. The next thing is to get our shoulder slope. So our shoulder slope is 0.7, and then we get our midpoint from the armhole line. So the midpoint for the armhole line, I marked in 0.5 just to give us a perfect armhole curve. So this is me trying to draw the armhole curve for the armpit. For me to connect it, I need to use my French curve. So right from the shoulder slope to the midpoint of the armhole and to the chest line. So this is me, I've already connected it. The next thing now is to get our perfect body circumference, which is our bust circumference. We need to divide it by 4. The bust circumference is 38 divided by 4, that's 9.5. So I will get that from the chest line. Having done that, the next thing is for the waist circumference. The waist circumference is 30 divided by 4, that's 7.5. So I'm getting that on my waistline. After marking my waistline divided by 2, I need to replace the 1-inch dart to the side of the waistline that I've already marked, because that one, it goes off of the blouse. The next thing to do now is my lower waist circumference, which is the hem line of a blouse. So I need to get that divided by 4 as well. Then I connect those lines together. After connecting those dots together, I need to add my seam allowance. Remember, we added 2 inches of seam allowance to the front body, so the same thing applicable to the back as well. So this is me connecting those lines. So after that, I go in by 1 inch at the hemline, the same way we did at the front body blouse. So we do the same thing for the back also. So I need to get the midpoint of the hemline of a blouse. So from that midpoint, that is where I'm connecting the hemline, which is the cuff that I want to apply for the hemline of a blouse. So I need to use my French curve and do so. For the 1 inch allowance, I need to do the same thing as well. So we have it already done. At the zipper allowance, we need to take off a 0.5. That's for zip tightening. We need to tighten our zip allowance at the back in order to give us that perfect shape. So that line goes to chest line, then I connect the down part, which is from the waistline to the utmost hemline of a dress, at least 2 inches before the hemline of a dress. So this is me doing so, and we have our zip tightening already done. So the next thing is just to get our neck shape, which is our neckline for the back. I mark down 2 inches, then I connect it to my neck width. Having done that, and we are good to go. So our back bodice drafting is well done. So this is me labeling all those allowances for you to see it, and that is it, guys. Thank you for watching, and make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and also click the notification bell for you to get notified anytime I upload a YouTube video. Bye.